Hello guys, glad to have you on board again. Today I just got back from gym and I never would have imagined what I got in front of me. I was pretty much expecting to get a very bearish day with a lot of stop losses triggered. Most of them were already paid, the Nasdaq, whatever. So when I basically left my screen, I was really forecasting to be stopped out by the evening and basically go for some vacation with all my scenarios being either invalidated or close to be. So I was pretty much pissed off earlier today. Obviously, I couldn't hide that anyhow. But Trump saved me. Like I never would have expected such things. So what a day. These are the kind of stuff that I'll definitely will remember in time. These are the kind of sessions that have huge implications. And when I say huge implication, I really mean that we've got crazy fucking volume today. Definitely a huge volume. And the day started off with quite significant amount of volume. Let's go intraday, by the way. They finally got a second charts into trading view. Obviously, you guys need to send them a freaking huge amount of feedback to tell them that limiting this feature to premium users is just an absolute shame. They really need to put it out for Pro Plus plans at least. So send them messages, all right? Use Twitter, use the @TradingView, make a lot of noise, contact support, just tell them this is absolutely not normal to have this kind of behavior. You are the customers, you're paying for the services, you really need to get the fucking second charts. So anyway, that's how today looked like. I've never seen something like that, all right? We were in a bearish market, let's be honest. We clearly broke through some major supports, so we were bearish. All we could have today was a retracement. So this is not a retracement. This is the washing machine kind of structure, narrow trend channel going up, straightforward, no resistances, no risk management, pure algorithmic trading in here. Taking down every bear's stop loss in a straight line, not even a chance for the bears to get out. That was absolutely meaningless, riskless taking, reckless kind of trading. I rarely seen that kind of market, and especially not in the current kind of context. So I was pretty much like, what the hell is happening to this market? I was really stunned of what really happened. I never and rarely see stuff like that. I've seen that in the past, but not in the current context. The volume was there. I mean, it wasn't a tiny volume at the session open. But then, all right, we get there. Remember, I got a stop loss out of 3007, got stopped right in here, and I told you right in here, fuck that, I'm taking the trade again, and I don't give a shit. I said I'm gonna take a 30-20 stop loss, and that's my last trade on SPX. I was basically 50% drawdown just on the SPX, which means since my last gain on the SPX, 15 freaking percent drawdown. Unimaginable. So I was off my limits. I would have basically stopped selling the SPX. That was my last trade. All right, so basically getting in here, a 0.5% risk in here, so leverage 2 on this, leverage 1.5 or approximately. But this is what I done, all right? It was my last attempt, and Trump saved me. I would never have imagined I would say that someday. This guy really is dumb. He had everything he needed to just wait for the market to flush out the bears and then say its shit out loud. But very bad timing, bro. You really messed around in here, and that's really appreciated because you saved my ass. Now you're in a very bad positions because simply that's the dirty money, all right? Like I told you, these guys were buying the shit. They were buying Apples, they were buying Microsoft, they were buying all the dirty shit, the Facebook, the Nvidias, the Netflix, the Boeing. They were heavily bought. Halfway through the session, the guys just pressed the heaviest risk buttons. All right, the more risky it was, the better. The goal was just to flush out the bears, take down the stop loss, and then we'll deal with the consequences. That's exactly what it was about. And then this happened. Huge spark in volume. The VIX going out of control. People don't really understand the timing, neither do I, to be honest. But that's really, really inappropriate, because this very dangerous amount of money induced in the market got really wrong-footed in here. And that you can see that the guys got really wrong-footed. And this is what happens when just a tiny event goes against the plan of those guys. They have freakingly huge leverages, which means when anything goes wrong, they need to get the fuck out pretty rapidly. And this is what it looks like. When they need to get the fuck out, something really looks ugly on today's chart. Now I'm going to get straight to the point. You tell me what you think about that. Well, let me just zoom in out. Zoom it in, sorry. All right, so we're not yet Friday, but we're closing today at the lows with that freakingly ugly upper shadow candle, closing below yesterday's low. Divergent daily signal being validated as we broke the underlying support. Weekly possible bearish engulfing structure, and we're just at the beginning. So even if today we're even going, I think today 2900 is definitely a minimum to go down to, and we better hope that we get a lower shadow candle out there. And I doubt that, sincerely. I think now the dirty money is being wrong-footed. They finished the game, so they know the danger is down the corner. And I think they're going to think twice right now before actually trying to take down stop losses. What we had today is absolutely breathtaking in any fucking way. I rarely see that kind of structure. So I think now what we have in here is the pullbacks we had in here, the attempts we had in here. I think tomorrow is going to be a very, very ugly day. A very bloody Friday, possibly. Minus 4% tomorrow wouldn't necessarily be that big of a deal. Remember what I told you, the weekly charts, whenever they will send the signal, it's not going to be with pullbacks. This is the kind of week we could have. Making an additional 2% tomorrow wouldn't necessarily be a problem. It would just be absolutely normal and appropriate regarding the shit we spread around for the latest few weeks. We've been spreading the shit for 2 quarters. All right, so now if we have to pay for it, don't be surprised. I would never imagine such thing, that we will go this far, that we will push the limits so far. But it is not just about the stock market. Everything is going the same way. Earlier today, the gold was sold. Now, bullish engulfing with an ugly lower shadow candle. We're definitely going straight to the next resistances. And regarding the attempts, I think we're going to fuck it up. Definitely think we will. So I'm starting to believe that there's not even going to be a resistance in here, and we're going to go straight line to $1,575, probably. So don't be overexcited, just risk manage. But what happened today really means something to me. It's not the usual messy noise of a structure. Today, something really gone wrong for the guys who are making huge risk taking in this market. They really, I think, got the message that you're not safe anymore. You can try your shit, you can go leverage, but these kinds of events can happen just out of a noise, purely noise, right? Trump is just a noise. It doesn't deserve that much movement. But all right, let's look at the VIX. Do you really think we're going to stop there? All right, we're very likely going to go straight to the resistance, which means 24. And if 24 doesn't give us any support, if we end up the weekly close by minus 5%, and if we go bearish gap on Monday with an even more bloody Monday, then no problem. We could go 50. Like I told you, if it goes out of control, don't be surprised. We actually deserve it. And that will be just normal. I told you, don't try to make the bearish move rational if they ever show up. I think what we have today is the validation I was seeking forward for. I actually never imagined it would be looking like that. Remember what I told you earlier today. I really thought we would be doing the easiest way, not necessarily the easiest way, but the hidden way, like going in here where it's obvious the bears will have reinforced their position, and basically I would agree for some stop hunting and ugly price action afterwards. Now what we've got is even worse than that, because we tried and we failed, and now it means shit tons of stop losses are set in here, and I don't nearly think we're going to go taking them down. I think now the motive is to go taking down the bull stop losses, and the game is pure and simple. Let's go zoom out and figure out, where do you think bull's stop loss can be set? first area in here, and we're not going to go there. We're going to go below. We're going to go taking down their stop losses. And if we don't find any bullish support in here, as you can see, this moving average is very likely going to be broken down. So if we don't find any support in here tomorrow, we can very well gap down in here the day right after. Would it actually be the big of a deal? Yes, it will be, because we will be gapping down this range area. So there will be no support until 2800. And if the Fed shows up in here saying, all right, you might have another 25% rate decrease because we want to call down the market, and what if it doesn't work? What if the market gets even below and gets there? If we go there, this is where the big problem starts to trigger, which means we can hardly think that we have built the major top in here, which means the smart money will start reversing and selling, which means the dirty money will have absolutely no way to deal with such amount of money. Like, let's be honest, I told you the dirty money is just playing with tricky amounts of leverage in a market that doesn't know where to go. So they're playing out of uncertainty. They're firing specific shots at specific moments with targets to wrong foot the risk managers like me. I am a target for those guys. This is why they wrong-footed me so much recently. They really won so much battle against me, but I always told you I'll win the war any fucking way, because those guys, they play with an unsustainable price scheme. I think today they took a hard hit, and I think they're about to take quite some much more, because they're probably selling the VIX as well. They're hardly going to be able to put out all the leverage they have, which means probably some subsequent losses, and you might want to have a look at the news flow next week to find out if we have some hedge fund bankruptcies or stuff like that. If we start to have that, then you know the recession is down the corner. You know you can reinforce your position safely and put a stop loss out of the market top. That's what I'll be looking forward for out of my vacation weeks. Just that, just pure information. I want to see if some hedge funds get stopped out, margin called, and ruin the investor. If we see that kind of stuff showing around, just a single hedge fund being bankrupted will be more than enough. A couple will be better, and if we get that, then you'll know the paradigm is changing, because those guys, they're trading the new paradigm, and if they end up being proven wrong, it's simple as that. Those investors being ruined by those guys' behaviors will obviously have some huge consequences and rippling effect all throughout the major economic system, which means investors will actually feel like there is a problem, and when they do feel that, they will obviously not support prices. So we'll see about that. I think what we have today is really, really a defined and clear area for stop losses, which means you can risk manage with a safe stop out of those market highs. I think we have the monthly top, and I wait for the weekly candle close to be really under 100% sure. So tomorrow is going to be an important session, but we have a weekly signal, appropriate weekly signal out of a tradable area. This is a fucking weekly selling signal, just like this one, and this one provided quite some gains. I think this one is just going to bring me the recession. I'm being fully honest in here. If we fail in there, and if we start breaking any supports out of this price signal, yes, I think Trump is fucked, and we're probably going to go lower. And like I said, if we ever go just right here, just that's over. Getting in here, I see hardly any chance that we can find some support in there. So breaking this area is going to lead us there. Breaking this area is going to bring us there. And it's a domino scheme falling one after another. To me, if it was just the stock market, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. The euro-dollar is lower shadow candling out of the weekly chart as well. Needs a confirmation tomorrow. USD GPY. Man, this one is the worst case scenario. The guys tried to save the dip, and remember what I told you, we're going to range in here. I sold yesterday. I thought about eventually taking down this reinforcement today. Oh my god. No, and I'm fully leveraged on USD GPY. This shit today, the 1.25%, I've got leveraged 3 on that. So today really started as a very bad day to me and ended up being a majestic day. So yes, it might sound like I'm excited. I'm not. I'm just really happy, because I was expecting to take some vacations, starting with a wrong footing structure, stopped by Wall Street, always the same guy trying to fuck me up. I was pretty much pissed off. So now I'm safe and happy, because yes, I was expecting those guys to take a hard hit someday. I just was waiting for this day to come. I think that day was today. So anyway, even if I might seem excited, it's just because I'm finally safe with leverage position on USD GPY. Obviously, I'm not going to lower my exposition to euro dollar, at least not now. I'll advise by tomorrow candle close. But if it looks like the way I think it will be, then I'll definitely stay the way I am. So in the process, I would just have taken a hit out of GBP USD, definitely would be. Gold is still leveraged and bullish, so today is just a tremendous day. USD GPY fully leveraged, and I think I'm now safe, so I'll be able to put down the stop losses and reinforce even more to go fully leveraged to break down the yearly support areas. So I'm just waiting for the shit to trigger. The shit is the big names making -4 to 5% and starting to trigger some liquidity issues, like we go down fast with huge volume because we have no buyers, and that's exactly what I expected. So that doesn't mean we're gonna go straight line crashing the market 2 weeks from now. I think we're just starting the process. Something goes wrong with those guys who were playing against risk management. They were basically doing the opposite as I did. Instead of risk managing, they were heavily risk taking until I told you someday something will go wrong for them. They'll get out of the game and I'll still be there. I think that's exactly what is about to happen. Those guys are going to be pushed out. I'll still be there to take their losses. So it was just, yes, like I said, I might be sounding happy. Purely and simply, I am not. I haven't been changing anything to my strategy. It's just that I'm happy that those guys finally take a hit. And like I said, I've been taking quite significant numbers of hits, but tiny hits, like 1% hits, one after another, really like pain trading me day after day. I always told you this would end this way. I don't know yet for sure, but I have this feeling that something definitely went wrong for them today, and it's just the beginning. I told you they might lose just one time, but this one time will have significant consequences for these guys. I might be losing 10 times in a row. It will have barely no consequences to me whenever I will manage to finally risk manage, get leveraged, and get my fucking trend. So we'll see. Wait for tomorrow's candle close before being over optimistic. Don't be actually over optimistic, but I think we got something today, and it is not random. All right. It wasn't expected, but it isn't random price action movements. I hardly think tomorrow we'll be recovering from this. Bye guys, have some nice trade. Remember, always risk manage. Don't go overconfident. It's not because of what I said today that you might be going fully leveraged, selling the house to sell the stock market, whatever. Just risk fucking manage. As long as we don't have a clean weekly signal confirmed, don't put any leverage on Wall Street. Whenever we'll have the weekly signal, you can go up to 3 to 5% risk, no more than that, with a stop loss at the market top. And if you get stopped out, don't cry, take the stop loss, don't fight, and we'll stop selling Wall Street. If they can recover out of what just happened, there's really no point selling. All right, it's the third fucking weekly signal in a row. I think this one's just a good one. So that's my personal biases, that's my personal vision. I will take reinforcement if we get to candle close like that tomorrow, or even worse. All right. So we'll see. I'll try to keep you posted throughout Discord, not throughout videos, but I'll try to handle the best I can. If there's some volatility, remember I prepared you for this. So have a look at the previous video if this is necessary for you to have the decent mindset for those potential bearish moves. Remember not to make them rational. If you try to think it twice, and if you actually think, all right, I might be profit taking in here because I sincerely fear that they will recover like they've been recovering so many times in the past. If you think it like that, you really got it wrong. We fought against the market for quite a significant amount of time. The day will be proven right. You must not take down your leverages. You must reinforce and follow the goddamn plan. I told you the volatility to the downside will be like climbing stairs and getting the fuck down with the elevator. So if it goes too fast for you, if you feel too much emotions, Just put the stop loss at break even and do nothing. But please don't profit take. Let it go with this trade. Work your own psychology. The targets are massive. We target new yearly lows on USD/JPY. I target a huge collapse on the SPX, retracing to halfway through this weird expanding wedge consolidation, and if we can find some support in here, then fine. All right, but until then, you just put your goddamn stop at break even. If you end up being stopped out afterwards, that's the game, all right? But if you start putting the money off the table anytime we reach out to support area, you really don't get it, all right? What we'll have is something similar to this. Straight line going to the downside, flat risk management before pushing even further than that. And we can fairly rapidly get into out of control market prices. Remember what I told you even a month ago. Those prices are not liquid. The Apples, the Facebook, the Microsoft, the Teslas, the Netflix, the Boeings, all those shits. If they start falling, people will start selling them, and it will make it even worse. These things are heavyweights in the indices, so if it goes down, I see hardly how we can retrace. So, all the opportunities to get the fuck out in the long-term trends, I've been warning you for a couple years that you needed to profit take your stocks if you were invested heavily into the stock market. Now, I think you got still time to do it. Right? You still have some pretty fairly decent prices. If you wait for the shit to hit the fan, you might not have such opportunities. I told you that we'll have liquidity squeezes. Don't be surprised if we have that. I hardly think this is going to be by next week, but I rather like to prepare you, as I won't be there to watch over your back. All right? So be prepared for some ugly problems. Now, be aware that obviously they'll do anything they can to prevent that from happening. But still, this is when they'll fight it that this will probably trigger the harder. That's what the plan is. Remember, the change of paradigm means they'll try hard, harder and harder, and the harder they'll try, the faster the price will be to the downside. It's not because of the Fed, it's just because of the liquidity issues. We've been printing prices without liquidity. If anything goes according to the plan, you know how it ends. Liquidity issues, bankruptcies, margin calls, and then people starting to sell. So, like I said, dominoes falling one after another. If you really think that means you need to bet on this scenario and go heavily leverage, really you don't get it. I can't stress that enough. No fucking leverage, just risk manage. Whenever I'll get fully leveraged on the SPX, you'll know, you'll be sure to know. I'll tell you whenever I'll take the leverage position. I am not doing such thing at the current time. I just consolidate my personal feelings and behaviors. I know I'm going to reinforce. I'm just waiting for a decent context to do so, and I'm waiting for actual confirmation to be fully leveraged in those markets. Right now, speculative leverage indecision is still down the corner, even though I have strong feeling that will go worse than what we currently are.